good time. Don't stop me now. That's a good pump up song. Oh my god. Alright. I'm ready. Did you want to do the intro? Doesn't matter.
Sure, I can do it. I believe in myself.
Stop her now, 'cause she's doing the intro.
Doing the intro.
Oh, we have fun.
Yep. Are listening to Castles and Cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic as fuck. I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Alanna, and I didn't mean to fuck up your intro when I was laughing. Yes, that is us, and we are Castles and Cryptids.
Yep.
And I have a fun thing to tell you today.
Okay.
I think it's fun. Today I'm repping one of my favorite podcasts because I got some merch for myself. Treat yourself.
Oh, very cool.
I am sporting a Night Classy podcast t-shirt. It is pink and it says Hose for Science on it.
That's wonderful.
It evolved from like some sort of inside joke where he went to call them hosts and it sounded like hose, and you know it grew from there, so it makes a nice merch purchase, I must admit.
That's awesome.
I know, I feel like, oh, and then so I got some other stickers too, like one says Night Classy and the other one says Learny Journey. It's got like the school bus on it, like Magic School Bus style.
Say that makes me think of Magic School Bus.
Yeah, it's definitely that was some of their inspo, I think. Yeah, they're funny girls. Yeah, I enjoy their merch. Yeah.
Well,
it's nice to be like in the podcast community.
yes, you feel very welcomed.
I know, people are really nice.
Yeah.
Like I've had some people asking me about getting into doing their own kind of shows and, you know, for like YouTube or different things, and they're like, how is it? Does it take up lots of time? And I'm like, well,
Yeah,
you know.
yes, it's fun, but yes, it takes up lots of time.
Yeah, I was like, well, you know, it's a passion project.
Yes. I think in the last 2 days alone, I've spent at least 8 hours working on notes for 2 different episodes. So, yeah.
Notes can take a while. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, usually I'll do something else while I'm doing it. I'll like
Yeah.
half listen to something else, or, you know.
Yeah, I'm really distracted. I'll put on a podcast about something totally unrelated while I'm researching a podcast about something that I'm going to be covering, and then I get very confused partway through because I'm not quite paying attention to either.
I know you know you should just listen to music, but you're like, no.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun.
I'm not going to lie, sometimes I just put on like thunderstorm sounds. Like, this is
Me last. Yeah, I just wanted to have a fire, even if nobody else in the house wanted to have a fire, because it's nice ASMR and visually pleasing. And like I said to you, I wanted to be outside a lot yesterday. I had a few days off. I'm like, give me some sun.
Yeah, I love a good fire.
It feels like summertime. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, hope everyone else is enjoying their summer. Hot girl summer, vaxxed and waxed, as they say.
Yes.
Well, some people do. But I hope everyone's, you know, safe and healthy and all that. So,
Yes.
gotta do what you can. Even though you're on a staycation. I'm like, I gotta get at least a little bit of a tan, or how can I prove that I went outside? I'm so white and pasty.
Yeah, right? Well, this week, or hopefully you enjoyed last week's episode for Canadian cryptids. We had a lot of fun.
Or petty crime. right?
Oh, sorry. Yes, petty crimes. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
like,
Canadian
the
Cryptids did
cryptids
come out
one.
today.
Yes.
That's why.
That's why.
Because we're recording on, yeah.
I worked on the YouTube video for like an hour this morning. That's why. I'm
Oh my
confused.
gosh. You have been hustling.
Well, it only takes like 5 minutes of work, but then like an hour of processing on the video editor I use, and then an hour of processing in YouTube. So it just sits in the background. But
Right. It's going to be different once we start doing anything like short videos.
yeah, I know very little about editing those. So.
Woohoo! Challenge accepted. No.
Maybe that'll be your job.
Right? Let us know if you want to see videos. Yeah, so we did cryptids, and then we did petty crimes, and now we are doing another paranormal, which is gotta be some of our favorites.
Yeah.
And I think the listeners too.
I enjoyed my research for this one.
It seems to be a much requested topic. I don't know. It fascinates people. There's a lot of questions about it on the Reddit. I didn't know anything about it before I started listening to podcasts, to be honest. But
I just knew like a bit from, I guess, like movies and TV shows that would kind of slip it in, mostly like horror movies and stuff like that. They tend to slip it in. Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah,
I
like-
can't think of any now that I had seen.
Well, I know you have seen Haunted or The Haunting of Hill House. So,
Ah, damn it. I have to rewatch like both of those friggin' shows because they were good, but I don't remember a ton of it.
Nellie in The
Yeah.
Haunting of Hill House, she is diagnosed and does suffer from sleep paralysis, and that's when she sees the bent neck lady. That
Oh, right. Yeah.
yeah, so it does
Which is
show
gross.
her, and she goes to like sleep studies, or I guess a sleep doctor, and he teaches her about like trying to wiggle her toes or fingers and stuff to break out of it, which is actually like known treatment to break out of it. So yeah, I'd say she
Oh, that's kind of
definitely-
cool.
Yeah, she definitely suffers from sleep paralysis, even if it's not like explicitly said in the show, I don't think.
Weird. You'd think they would just talk about it if so many people suffer from it.
Yeah.
PSA, talk about sleep paralysis. Government, I guess.
Government, please.
I know we have a pandemic on, but like, come on. These are the pressing issues
Yeah.
today's youth are facing. All right, what else science you got? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, speaking of that, though, I was actually shocked at what percentage of the population actually suffers from sleep paralysis.
Yeah, I feel like it was much higher than I expected too.
Yeah. So I have a bit of the science of it here for anybody like myself that didn't know much about it.
Little smattering of science.
Just a little bit. So, sleep
Nice.
paralysis occurs in approximately 8% of the population. So, almost 1 in 10 people.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, which is way higher than I ever would have thought.
Yeah, because no one talks about it, yeah. Or other than on podcasts and Reddit, I guess. It seems to me, anyway. Maybe just no one in my circle's ever suffered from it, really.
Yeah.
Have you ever had it?
No.
No, me neither. Not that I ever recall, anyway.
Yeah. So it can occur really at any age, but normal symptoms start typically in childhood, and it often becomes more frequent in somebody's 20s or 30s.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it can start in your 20s or 30s?
It can. Typically, it's going to start in like really early childhood, like when you're under 10, and then become more frequent in your 20s and 30s. But it can be triggered by like stress and poor sleeping and a bunch of other reasons we'll get into. So really anybody could suffer from this given the right circumstances.
Ew.
Yeah.
I was hoping the chances were very low, so. But yeah.
It blurs the line between being asleep and awake, and it's the temporary inability to move that occurs right after somebody falls asleep or right when they're waking up. So
Right. Okay.
yeah,
Because it's
people-
your your body's supposed to do that.
Yes.
For a bit, anyway.
Yeah. People are typically aware during these episodes, and they can experience hallucinations and even the sensation of being suffocated, which is just horrible.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
No.
That's... None of them are great options, but suffocation's gotta be the worst.
It's part of something called the parasomnias, which are any sort of abnormal behaviors during sleep.
Oh. There are some weird ones other than sleepwalking.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Phil on Modern Family because it's something like somnambulousness is a real problem. Like it's like cuddling and being romantic asleep
yeah, I've heard
and
of that
stuff.
before.
I hope it's a real thing, but it's funny.
So it's a condition identified by a brief loss of muscle control known as atonia? Atonia?
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the standard REM sleep involves vivid dreams, and atonia working to prevent a person from acting out their dreams. So atonia is like what stops you from, I guess, when you're dreaming of like running, that your legs wouldn't actually be moving.
Okay, that's the name for that function that prevents that. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, because I had heard about that it had to do with, what stops you from acting out your dreams. And I was like,
Yeah.
cool, that makes sense.
So that's, yeah, in like sleep paralysis, somebody like wakes up, but their atonia that's supposed to stop when somebody wakes up, it actually continues, making them unaware of atonia typically stops as soon as someone wakes up, making them unaware that they, while sleeping, have a loss of muscle control. But in sleep paralysis, a person continues to experience atonia even after they have woken up, and it mixes with the vivid imagery of the regular, like, REM sleep cycle. So when somebody wakes up, they're supposed to regain control of their body, but in sleep paralysis, they don't, and then they still kind of continue to be out of it and experience a REM sleep, which is what causes the hallucinations.
That makes sense also. It's like, it seems like a direct
dreaming, but
correlation.
Your eyes are open and you can see, so it's like you're asleep and awake at the same time. You're awake in that you can see your room, but half your brain is like asleep and it's dreaming, so it's adding things to your room, if you want to think about it that way. And then because atonia doesn't go away, you're also paralyzed at the same time.
And you're like, and I'm having a nightmare. Great. Like a living nightmare. Yeah.
A living nightmare.
Ugh.
So,
you don't like it.
No, this is like awful. It sounds bad, but it's my worst nightmare, is sleep paralysis.
Oh, I feel bad for all of you guys out there that have to deal with it. Like, hopefully it's a rare thing. Is it rare? Is it a rare occurrence?
8% of the population experiences it, so I can't say it's that rare. There's a lot more.
No, but I wonder, I'm not sure if people all experience it all the time or just sometimes. Like, did you do anything?
I do have some of that. There's like two categories we'll get into a bit later.
Okay.
Yeah. So, an estimated 75% of sleep paralysis episodes involve hallucinations, which can be visual, auditory, or sensory.
Sorry, what percent? I'm sorry.
75%.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
So they kind of fall into three categories, which most sleep paralysis stories are also going to be able to be classified under. So the first category of hallucinations are called intruder hallucinations, and they involve the perception of a dangerous person or presence in the room.
Ew.
And the second category is just classified as chest pressure hallucinations, or they're also called incubus hallucinations, and they can incite a feeling of suffocation.
Oh, but they're also called incubus?
Yeah, that's actually the name of the classification, interestingly enough.
Ew, again. Cause, yeah, incubus, we'll get to it, but sleep demons, no!
Yeah.
Feeling like you're suffocating, that means something's like feeling like it's sitting on your chest or whatever.
We'll get into a lot of that later on in my segment. There's
No
a
thanks,
whole
I'm
bunch
done. I
of-
quit the podcast.
And
Carry on.
the third classification is called vestibular motor, or VM hallucinations. That one just sounds super sciencey compared to the others, but you got incubus, you got intruder, and then you got vestibular motor. So they
Super Latin, yeah.
yeah, they include the feelings of movement. So these are things like somebody feeling like they're flying, falling, spinning, or any sort of out-of-body sensations.
Oh, that's unsettling.
Yeah. So around 90% of all sleep paralysis episodes are associated with some sort of fear. But some people do actually experience pleasant or blissful hallucinations. I'd like to hear some of those stories.
Well, be careful what you wish for. Oh my god. So, okay, so they're saying that they're not all. It's like dreams. They're not all horrifying nightmares. So this is like your dreams or
10%
subconscious
probably
seeping
are.
through.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it's like also a variety, if you will.
And episodes kind of vary in length. They can last for even just a few seconds or up to even 20 minutes long, but the average is 6 to 7 minutes, which is still
Oh
long
no.
enough.
Yeah. It is. It really is. That's 7 minutes too long.
Yeah. Most episodes end on their own, but they can be interrupted by another person's touch or voice, or even by the individual's intense effort to move. So say like a finger or your toes, and that can overcome the atonia that the person's experiencing.
Oh my.
Yeah.
And you can pretend you're Uma Thurman and Kill Bill as you do it when you're like, wiggle your big toe.
Yeah.
We just rewatched that the other day and she came out of her coma, remember? Oh,
Yes.
it's a great movie.
That's happening when she's in the car, isn't it?
Yes, in the pussy wagon that she stole from Buck, who likes to fuck. That piece of shit. Great movie, guys. Most people, I'm sure, have seen it, but yeah.
So for causes, the exact cause of sleep paralysis is unknown, but other sleep-related disorders such as sleep apnea, insomnia, even people that have circadian rhythm issues, and sadly, enough to break the news to you, people suffering from jet lag, sleeping on your back, stress, people who work shift work, or even people who often experience nighttime leg cramping are more likely to experience sleep paralysis.
Oh, that's a lot of factors.
Yeah, right? Like shift work and stress, sleeping on your back was brought up a lot.
Exactly. You're like, yeah, I've heard the sleeping on your back or with your. Is it sleeping on your back with your hands above your head? I don't know. But yeah, it's just like, yeah, or who doesn't have stress, or
Yeah.
I forget what the other one that I identified with a lot of those.
Yeah, the odd nighttime leg cramp. Now every time that happens, I'm just gonna be like, sleep paralysis!
Yes.
It's kicking in!
Sometimes I think I get almost a little bit of that restless leg syndrome where I'm like, oh, I have to squeeze my leg muscles.
Yeah, I've woken up before with Charlie horses in my legs, like in my calves, and I've woken up multiple times with them in both legs at the exact same time. So as soon as I did my research and that came up, I was horrified that I was gonna end up with sleep paralysis.
You're like, my legs have sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So mental health conditions can also increase a risk. So
Oh, great.
yeah, things like anxiety disorders, PTSD, people who have experienced sexual abuse or physical or emotional distress. And then it's also believed that a family history of sleep paralysis could also play a part.
Interesting. What if the person with PTSD doesn't dream? Because just
then
thinking
I'd say
of
it's probably pretty unlikely that they
yeah.
'cause then I'd say their REM cycle is probably not at like a level that it has to be to produce hallucinations.
Yeah, because like Pat, Pat doesn't dream. He doesn't remember any of his dreams anymore.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if he ever did before he had PTSD, but yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, well, it said even that, like, on average, you only remember, like, a really low amount of actual dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And your REM cycle out of an entire night's sleep, in my research, I don't think I have it in my notes, but I think it came across saying that your REM cycle is, and the active part of you dreaming is only about an hour and a half of you during your actual sleep cycle.
Right.
So if you're sleeping for 8 hours and the dreaming portion's only going to be an hour and a half, it's not the biggest portion or like the most memorable thing for you to remember when you wake up, I guess.
Yeah, but they feel long when you're in them.
Yeah, they can. They feel like they last the whole night when you actually remember them.
Yeah. You're like, what the hell? And then we did this, and then you try and remember and it fades away.
Yeah. So
It's like, there was a baby and I rescued a dog. Like, I don't know.
Jimmy fell down a well. So my last little section for science is about some treatment. So sleep paralysis usually doesn't happen frequently enough to cause any sort of significant health problems, which is great news.
Yeah, I haven't heard of anything, like any super horrifying cases where it's like every night.
Yeah. However,
I hope.
somebody associating like sleep with sleep paralysis can cause like a negative association. So they can associate it with going to sleep, going to bed. It can provoke anxiety around bedtime, making it harder for an individual to fall asleep and may lead to sleep deprivation. And I guess
I could see that.
extreme cases.
Yeah, for sure. It's gotta be terrifying. Everyone says it is.
Yeah. Online it said practicing a healthy bedtime routine can improve sleep and help prevent episodes. That's just the answer to everything. A healthy bedtime routine will help you with this.
Good luck.
Yeah.
No, but
It's different.
I remember I read one of Jordan Peterson's book about 10 rules for life or whatever, and I think he said he put more emphasis on getting up at the same time. That it's something about getting up at the same time can really set your cycles right or whatever. Like he's like, even if you stay up a little bit too late, but like try and get up at the same time. And I was like, that's interesting. Like,
Yeah.
but
Well, it makes sense that you would want to pay attention to both.
yeah, but that's hard. I can't do that. I can't go to bed. It's like 12:30, 1:30. Like, I don't know when I'm going to get to bed. It's going to be whenever I can finally stop thinking.
And I'm the opposite. I'm the one that loves to sleep. So this is why this is my worst nightmare, because sleeping is my favorite thing on earth. Even yesterday.
Oh, I love to sleep in. Who doesn't love to sleep, right? Like
Yesterday. Well, this whole week I've been having to get up at 5 a.m. for work. And
she's tired.
yeah. And when I came home from work yesterday, I managed to stay awake for a couple hours, worked on some stuff for the podcast, and then was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go take a nap. And I set a timer for an hour and 15 minutes later. I was like, I'm gonna sleep for like a little over an hour. Well, as soon as that alarm went off, I put it on silence and then rolled over, slept for another hour, and then woke up about an hour later, and then looked at the time and was like, I could do another hour, so I went to sleep for another hour. So I had a 3-hour nap in the middle of the day yesterday, and it was amazing. And then I still went to sleep at like 10 o'clock.
Oh yeah, your body needed it then for sure, for sure.
Then I slept until I slept until 8 a.m. and then didn't get out of bed until 9 a.m. this morning. So I just slept like a shit ton in the last 24 hours.
You're like, finally.
Yeah, it was great, and I do it all again next week.
Oh, and that's what'll happen too to me. Like if I do go to bed late and then sometimes I end up making up for it on the weekend because I will get up at like 10 or whatever. Yeah. Goddamn
So,
sleep. They still don't know why we need it, but we seem to like it a lot.
yep. So, science can help people understand their experience with sleep paralysis, but it can't explain everything. So, it can't explain the demons seen for centuries around the world, described by both adults and children in almost exactly the same way. So, that
Ooh.
brings us into. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of sleep demons that I researched.
I don't
And,
need to know that there's a whole bunch. I'm
well,
fine with one or two.
I'd say 90% of them are the same one. Just different cultures around the world have slightly different variations and names. So I'm going to cover all of those, or a handful of those at the end.
Okay.
Yeah. Starting for the sleep demons, it's actually interesting to know, and I didn't know this before, that in Old English, the name for the sleep demons was actually a mare, M-A-R-E, or mare spelled M-A-E-R-E. And that is
Oh,
believed to be the mare part of nightmare.
yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I've run across that once and thought, I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
So, different cultures around the world have many different demons and names based on their culture, slightly different beliefs. Slightly, for one of them, it's like slightly different variations, but cultural explanations try to account for the terrifying experiences that these people have. The first one, some of these are really short. The first one I have is really, really short, and it has to do with the Inuit culture.
Ooh.
So, in my research, it said that people talk to shamans who cast spells when someone is sleeping, and this makes the person unable to move, talk, or scream, and then they are visited by a shapeless or faceless presence. So that was kind of
Wow.
interesting because that was like a spell cast on you, or like cursed.
Ew.
Yeah.
Faceless also. That's gross.
Yeah. I don't know if this one was the inspiration for the Hat Man from The Haunting of Hill House, but there is a sleep demon called the Hat Man or the Cloak Man. People believe they're pretty much the same one, even though their appearance varies slightly.
I've heard of this one. Yeah, and definitely some people do see it a little differently. Even I think even in the same room or whatever sometimes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not that I have a story like that I have written down, but I feel like I was like, yeah, it was like a brother and sister or something, and they're like, I saw one with like a cloak, and the other one was like, I saw him with a long coat.
Yeah.
Words are hard.
So, Hat Man, Cloak Man, whatever you want to call him, they're believed to be the same creature with two different appearances, and it's described as human-like shadow wearing a Quaker hat or a cloak and has yellow snake-like eyes.
Ew, gross.
And
Like the yellow-eyed demon on Supernatural.
yes, right? It often stands in the corner of a room or paces. I don't know which ones were. It's probably just standing there. Especially if it's rocking back and forth. Like they do in
I don't
some.
know. I don't even like it when humans stand there and stare at me. So yeah, that's pretty gross.
Yeah, so kind of interesting. There's two different takes on this like sleep demon. So some people say that it comes and warns them of an imminent danger and is trying to help them, while others say it's like malevolent and they feel like waves of like bad energy coming off of it.
Weird. Maybe there's a good man, a good hat man and a bad hat man. Oh my god, I don't know.
It's reported he sometimes appears with a shadow child who is
Ew.
yeah, is the shadow child is slightly more shapeless and seems to only really solidify in corners of the room or at the foot of the bed. People say they feel like, the reason why they think it's a child is they feel a childlike curiosity or shyness coming from the smaller shadow, and some have even reported hearing a garbled song or rhyme that it sings, which is creepy.
It's all so very creepy. I don't like that.
The Hat Man is often benevolent when appearing side by side with the child, and people experience feelings of like protection and safety when they show up as a pair. So I guess it seems like a better spirit when it's with the child. Some articles even said that they report it feeling like a paternal or like an uncle, like familial relationship between the two.
Huh. Let's hope for that in a good way.
The child rarely appears by itself, which is also interesting, but when it does, it's reported that the child spirit often jumps on a person's bed and then kind of like crawls up them, which sounds horrifying, but apparently it likes to tangle its little hands into the person's hair and kind of play with their hair, but it sounds horrible. And isn't like grabbing or pulling, it's doing it like playfully like babies do.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, when,
So
like, you're holding like a little kid and the kid starts playing, or the baby starts playing with your hair and stuff, it's not grabbing at it or trying to like cause you harm. People are pretty specific about that.
Ooh, he just wants you to be his mommy.
Yeah. Make you a shadow family. Oh.
Like, I feel bad if it's a ghost of some little boy, right? I'm like, okay.
I don't want to
please be nice.
Mommy.
You can be here, but please don't do that. You're scaring me.
I don't want to be your mommy.
Don't make it angry, Kelsey.
Yeah. I did find a little quote. This is from the amhsnewspaper.com.
Of course. A maths? AMHS. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'll just put a whole lot of extra letters in there.
So I just copied this paragraph exactly how they had it written. So they said, when asked about their supposed imaginary friend, children up to the age of 5 often describe a figure very near the Hat Man, as did a young boy in Missouri. So he's quoted as saying, "That man," when his father asked who he was talking to, cheerfully pointing at an empty chair. When asked what the man looks like, the boy said, "A big dark man with a big coat. He watches me when you're away because he doesn't want me to be lonely. He says I can play with his pets, but I can't ever try to see his face. He says bad things will happen to you and Mommy if I do."
Oh, great.
So creepy.
That's lovely. Carry on, Timmy. Oh,
yeah. Oh. He watches me while I sleep.
Why can't they see his face?
Right?
If he's so helpful. Yeah, that's very strange to me.
So the next we're gonna talk about briefly, and I don't know if you have a story to share later, well, this or not, but it's about the incubus or succubus.
Yeah, stories,
Yeah.
a little bit of history too.
Perfect. Incubus is the male form of a demon who lies upon sleeping women in order to engage in sexual activity with them.
It's Paranormal Activity, the porn version.
X-rated.
Sexual activity. Incubus. I don't know. I got nothing. I'm sorry. Carry on.
The female's form is called the succubus. Stories of them have been told for centuries, with sexual activity with them reported to cause deterioration of health, an impaired mental state, or even leading to death.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, while other times it causes a child to be born part human and part demon. In the source I found, it says that they're believed to use one of two methods to impregnate a woman. First, to steal the sperm out of a dead man and deliver it into a woman,
Ew.
Yeah. This one seems a little more interesting to me. I don't know. But it's also a lot more involved.
That's probably the more common theory, because the first one was not the one I've heard.
Right?
The dead... Yeah, dead man, gentleman's relish. No, I don't like that.
Yeah, so you're right. This one seems to be the more common one. And this method is the idea that a dead body could be possessed by a devil, causing it to rise and have sexual relations with others. This is similar to depictions of revenants or vampires. So
what?
Back a long time ago, that's what their second theory was on how this happens. But now that theory has kind of evolved into believing that they first engage in sexual activity with a man to get the human seed, and that they use their dark powers to strengthen the seed to guarantee pregnancy, and then they kind of shapeshift or change into the incubus, the man version, and then the spirit, and then they sleep with the woman, and then the spirit's offspring were thought to be of supernatural origin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, that crazier one is the one I've heard the most.
Right?
I mean, I guess it's not crazier. It's like, they're just like, we don't want to need to involve a corpse. We'll just do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Between the incubus and the succubus, or I guess they can go between them, usually.
Yeah, that's what the one was saying, that it's now, I guess, more believed that they're the same entity, and it's pretty much genderless, I guess, and can form whatever sexual organs, I guess, it needs to get the job done.
Yeah, it just switches back and forth.
Yeah.
Just a little, like, those weird animals in the animal kingdom that are like clownfish. They're like, wait, you need to be a male today because we need to have more offspring.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
So that brings us, those were kind of like some of the more common ones. The rest of it is all pretty much variations of the same one, called the hag, the old night hag, the night hag, whatever you want to call her. That's pretty much what she's called in North America.
The beautiful maiden. That's what I want to call her. But apparently it's gonna be like the woman in The Shining instead. Yeah. Just all sores all over her and like lanky hair and shit when you're already kissing her.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So the hag, or the night hag, is a ghastly old woman who stands over the sleeping person or sits on their chest. And
no.
Yeah. No thanks.
Hard pass.
She even covers their mouths with her, it's reported, claw-like fingers. And she is always accompanied by the feeling of choking or a person's chest caving in. And
okie dokie.
She has like hundreds of names around the world. The Wikipedia article for her is ridiculous. I think I went through about 45 variations of her same names and picked out a couple of them that had maybe slightly variations that sounded a little bit different. But yeah, she has like 45 names around the world.
She's like 45 names?
Yeah.
That's like insane. Then she's like not made up just by one culture.
Yeah, and they're all virtually like within slightly variations, like 98% of what's told is virtually the same. So it's pretty crazy between like around the world.
Yeah, that stuff fascinates me because you're like, okay, these cultures are so different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So within the US and Canada, as I said, she's called the hag, the night hag, the old hag. She reportedly leaves her physical body during the night and sits on people's chests. And back a long time ago, they actually said nightmares that you had when she was visiting were called being hag-ridden.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, or witch-ridden. In some cultures, they called it witch-ridden, but hag-ridden was more common. Because she sits on your chest, and people said equated it to her riding you like a horse. So you're being hag-ridden.
Are they sure that's what they were talking about and not just like some terribly ugly lay they had?
Right? I was drunk and she didn't look as good in the morning, so I was being happy.
No, that's right. Pat always talks about that. It's like, you know that song, she ain't pretty, she just looks that way. He's like, that's so true of some people.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know, babe. You want a natural girl next door beauty. You don't want someone who's in the morning, their whole face is all over the pillow.
Yeah,
It's all makeup. Oh dear.
So, an interesting thing I thought I'd throw out there isn't much on this, but I did find a little thing kind of nestled right in there about Newfoundland.
What?
Yeah.
Newfoundland?
So, Newfoundland on the island folklore, they say that the hag can be summoned and used to attack a third party like a curse. So I don't know what's going on in Newfoundland.
Oh my god, someone's getting some revenge.
And in the 1982 book, The Terror That Comes in the Night, which
Oh dear.
David J. Hufford says that they believe, he researched in Newfoundland with the folklore and everything for a long time before he did this book, and he says that they believe the way to call the hag is to in fact say the Lord's Prayer backwards.
Oh my god, I'd have to write that down. Because, how else would you remember it?
I couldn't even recite the alphabet backwards, okay?
No, and that's like part of a sobriety test, isn't it?
Sometimes. I'll just be like, just give me the blow test. I don't even know if I could necessarily do the alphabet backwards if I was looking at it.
No, and you literally will not even have too much to drink or whatever at my house if you're like, if it's gonna make me too drunk in the morning, you're like, I will not have an ounce, whatever. You know.
I would not have one alcohol.
I will not have one alcohol in my bloodstream.
That brings us into a handful of variations of the hag around the world that I thought were kind of the most interesting. So...
the hag variants. Oh, you don't watch Loki. Never mind.
No.
Loki had a bunch of variants in the season from different timelines. Different versions of Loki, that's all.
Okay. I know one of them's D.B. Cooper, and that makes me unbelievably happy.
It was more like he had a flashback where you found out he was D.B. Cooper. And the variants are there's an alligator Loki and a kid Loki and a girl Loki. It's all the different, it's a different multiverse. Anyway, I'm so sorry.
Loki into the Loki-verse. Just into the Spider-Verse.
Well, that's why it's so cool, because at the end, spoiler alert, she's breaks the main timeline, and so now it's ooh, anything can be canon because they've made 15 million timelines happen. It's cool. I like it. Yeah.
I did look up the pronunciation of these because, as I said, it's different cultures around the world. Google was only semi-helpful, so I'm gonna wing it. Yeah.
We can't even pronounce English half the time. Come on. What do you expect?
Yeah. So the first one is the Pisadera.
Ooh. Where are they from?
It is in some parts of Brazil. And,
okay.
Yeah. They have a folklore about a creature with long fingernails that lurks on people's rooftops during the night. And they come into a person's house and it said trample on the chest of people who sleep. It didn't really give a reason as to why. That's what it said.
Trample them with your many hooves. It's a herd of horses comes through,
Yeah, oh my god.
The hell?
Yeah, most of these are really short. That's why I included them all together.
Okay, I like short and sweet.
Pesanta? Yeah, Pesanta is in the Catalonia region of Spain.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this one was a little bit different. They have a black animal, often seen as a cat or a dog, that invades people's homes and sits on their chests, causing breathing problems and nightmares. And it's described as black and hairy with steel paws.
Whoa.
And then Yeah. So I guess that's where the weight comes from. And then all the sources, like I find 5 different versions of talking about this creature, and all of them said that its steel paws have holes in them so that, what was it? I cut it out of my notes because it did not make sense to me. But I have to open it because I want to talk about it because it made no sense to me. Oh, so it's black and hairy with steel paws, but with holes, so it can't take anything. So its steel paws have holes in it, but it can't take anything. Do you understand what that sentence is supposed to mean? Because I really don't.
I'm just picturing like paws and with Wolverine claws that are retractable, and then the palm has a big hole in the center. So if they try to pick something up, it goes through the hole.
It can't take anything? Like, what does it can't take anything mean?
Or there's holes in the claws so that there's no DNA under the claws when they scrape you. I don't know.
But that's what it said. It can't take anything. I don't know.
Weird. No.
The next one is Leotovens. Leotovens. That's the closest Google translation I could find.
Leotovens. No.
Leotovens. And that's in Latvian folklore. And they are the soul of a killed, it specified strangled, drowned, or hanged person that attacks.
Oh.
Yeah. And they attack people as well as domestic animals. That was sad. So apparently they attack animals too. But it is listed that while under attack, one is supposed to move a toe on their specified left foot to get rid of it. I don't know why the left foot. That was quite common. People would specify, like, you have to wiggle your right thumb or your left toe, or, like, it was kind of all over the place.
Wiggle your big left toe. Come on. Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't want to run through, like, all 45 of them, so I kind of picked a couple out.
Oh my god, 45, yeah.
Yeah, I was literally like, this is the same thing. Like, I might as well just copy and paste this, like, for 15 times. It's the exact same. And all of them
this will be a 2-part episode.
And all of them were like 2 sentences long, and they all said, it sits, climbs through the window, sits on your chest. Climbs through the window, sits on your chest. Climbs through the window, sits on your chest. And I was like, okay, no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would also just like list a few then where I'd be like...
These are the ones that were kind of a bit different. So there's the Oh, I looked up this one. It was pronounced exactly like it looks like, and now I'm just like, how was that again? Amatadori. Amatadori.
Okay.
In Sardinia.
Sardinia, I believe.
Sardinia?
Italy?
Yes. One of Italy's. One of Italy's. I just like, okay. It's one of Italy's islands, and sleep paralysis is blamed on a ghoulish creature that sits on your chest, again, suffocating the victim and sometimes ripping at their skin with its nails.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Also gonna rip you up.
And this was actually kind of common too in some of the ones. I just didn't, again, want to list a whole bunch of them. But in some parts of the island and other places, they believe that the creature, in this case, in Sardinia, that the creature wears 7 red caps on its head, and that if you manage to take one, you will find hidden treasure as a reward. That was a common theme through some of them, that it wears a hat, and if you manage to grab the hat, you get treasure.
Ooh, keeps treasure in their hat.
Yeah, or like you'll wake up, or you'll have good fortune, stuff like that. So that was kind of different.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, the last one I have is probably the only one, even before knowing about the hag or anything, that I had ever heard about. Which none of the research I did reminds me of why I would know this. I'm pretty sure it was from a really bad movie that I saw on Netflix or something.
That had like one true thing in it? No.
Yeah, and it is the Batty Bat.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know this one.
I think when I was looking it up, it said it was on Chilling Tales of the, like, Sabrina the Teenage Sabrina.
Oh, the
like
first
Netflix
Sabrina?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the new Netflix one that they did for a couple seasons, that they had a baddie bat. So it made me familiar,
Oh,
but I didn't really, like, I don't even remember watching that episode. Um, so I'm not sure, but I had heard the name
I
before.
didn't really see the Netflix one.
Yeah. So baddie bat or bangongot in Tagalog. It's pretty much like just two names for it. It's a vengeful demon who takes the form of an ancient obese, and some sources said grotesquely obese, tree-dwelling spirit.
Oh my god. A fat wood nymph?
Yeah.
What the hell?
So
Wouldn't they break those branches?
right? They're seen after the tree where they live falls down, especially when their tree is then made into support posts that are used to build houses.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be mad too.
Yeah, they migrate and follow the support post to the new house that was built, and they do not allow humans to sleep near their post. And when they do, they take another form, like a smaller form, I guess, and suffocate the person, invading their dreams and causing sleep paralysis and waking nightmares.
Okay. So they're doing all of it.
Yeah. And to ward off the baddie bat, one should bite one's thumbs or wiggle one's toes, and the person will awaken from the nightmare induced by the baddie bat.
Oh, cool. I like that.
Yeah, and that's a little trip through a bunch of sleep demons. Again, like 90% of them are just variations of the hag.
I don't like the sound of her, no matter which variation it is. Yeah, I don't want to see her. I'm
No.
good.
Yeah.
I'm good on that one. Ugh.
Should.
Speaking of that one in the Philippines, I heard there's a podcast by a Filipina lady. It's called, and I heard it featured on a couple of the pods we're friends with on Instagram and stuff. It's called Stories with Sapphire. And yeah, I remember I listened to an episode because it was a crossover with one of the ones that I already listened to, like, I can't remember exactly right now, so I'm not going to say it, but
Yeah.
it was cool. I remember she talked about there was one of her family members had a spirit that reminded her of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh my
That's what
God.
I remember because I was like, that's funny.
That would be so weird.
Yeah, so it's cool to have, and I think the Stories with Sapphire is the lady's name, the host, and I heard the ad for the show too, and it's like, well, I wanted to do it because there's not a lot of options for, in the paranormal community podcasts where people are from the Philippines or, just different regions like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's cool, because like, yeah, I love getting the different cultures, variations on stuff.
Yeah, because then you're going to hear stuff that you wouldn't really hear anywhere else.
Exactly. Like, it's not necessarily going to be the same all around the world.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Whoop whoop. We'll be right back. Oh, I guess I did have. No, I don't really have a title, but what the header on my document is for sleep paralysis is creepy sleep.
Creepy sleep.
That's all it is. Yeah, just creepy sleep. So, there you go. So my segment entitled Creepy Sleep starts out. No. So, oh yeah, I wanted to point out that as I had mentioned in a previous episode, the Haunted Part 2, You Don't Want to Live Here. I guess I had mentioned a story quickly, one I had briefly heard on another podcast, which turned out to be Drinking the Kool-Aid podcast, their sleep paralysis episode. And I mentioned it again because my sister was listening and was like, what was that one? That was weird.
Yeah.
So I was like, and they thought they got impregnated by a, sleep
Incubus.
demon or whatever. Yeah, like honestly, there's not like a whole, I don't know what happened after that because it wasn't like there was a full story, but for anyone else that was curious about, like Ressa was,
Yeah.
And she was like, what was that from? It was from Drinking the Kool-Aid's episode 54. It was their anniversary episode, so it was called Mary Podversary.
Aw, that's so cute.
Yeah, and it was a good episode about sleep paralysis. So yes, also if you want to listen to that, and you know, after you're done with this one, go ahead. I'd recommend it. I think it was like a listener story. Yeah, so I did have a story from Reddit that I got permission to use from user Jolie Cerise. And she asked, does anyone else have really detailed hallucinations? When I have sleep paralysis, I try to keep my eyes closed so I don't get freaked out. So occasionally I'll hear things, and it's usually voices, like someone whispering in my ear, or voices coming from the TV. Once I thought I heard a Spanish soap opera, but I opened my eyes to see that the TV was off. Earlier today, during sleep paralysis, I heard an episode of Johnny Bravo playing.
Sorry.
I was like...
Okay. I love Johnny Bravo, but...
I feel like it was big on Cartoon Network.
Hey, Mama. Or whatever he used to say. Hot Mama.
Something like that. I think I remember.
What was his catchphrase? Oh my god. Bad Mama. Something like that.
That sounds familiar.
Hey, Mama.
That's right.
Something like that. Oh, I can picture it in my head. Okay, continue.
I could hear the dialogue clearly. It was an episode where where Johnny finally got a girlfriend and stopped being obnoxious. And then in brackets, I don't know if this is an actual episode or if I made it up. I don't know. I didn't watch it that much.
Oh. So I don't remember.
Me neither. I'm sure if it was an episode, it was probably like a one-off.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know Johnny Bravo, just picture Joey from Friends as a cartoon guy who only wears sunglasses and a tight black t-shirt and just hits on it. Just pretty much going, how you doing, to everybody.
And he's blonde, right?
Yeah, he's got a blonde, like, Caesar-y faux hawk wave thing at the front. I don't know. Yeah. That's the kind of person he is, and that's the kind of show
of cartoon hair
that I find is so hilarious that this person's hallucinating an episode of. That's just, it makes me unbelievably happy.
They enjoy some Johnny Bravo.
Yeah.
So they said, I was starting to get into it, so I opened my eyes to watch it, and my TV was off. I couldn't believe it. When I had auditory hallucinations before, it was never really scary because I knew I was hallucinating. And if I listened closely, the voices were talking nonsense or gibberish. This time, it was really detailed. Is this normal? So you do get a lot of ones that end with a question on Reddit.
Yeah.
Which is cool, because then it's nice to get a consensus. And then some people did comment that there's head sounds. Okay, so... yeah, the most upvoted comment or whatever it seemed was this person was like, sometimes my sleep paralysis sounds like this.
Oh, that's so creepy. What the fuck?
Like
oh, I hate it. I don't like it. No. Oh, I literally have like shivers down my spine. Like, what is this?
I know. I don't know how else to describe it. I described it like white noise because it's like yeah,
that's
it's
a perfect
like really loud and
description.
bassy and
oh,
yeah.
That's awful.
Like maybe someone's screaming in demon language behind that, but you don't know.
I got like goosebumps and shivers down my spine as soon as it started playing.
If that's what this person that replied sleep paralysis sounds like, I do not want any of that.
No, it's like staticky, just horribleness.
Distorted, yeah.
With in the background.
Exactly. Did we talk about on here before, like, what is that called? Like, it's sounds that specifically trigger humans to feel scared. I think it's called like dissonance or something. Just tones that just like kind of creep us out, like on almost like a biological level.
Oh, no, I don't think we've talked about that before.
I don't know. I've heard of it briefly. But yeah, you could definitely kind of get an idea for it. I find if you listen to something really creepy and you're like, ugh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That went down my spine.
Yeah. Just like nails on like a chalkboard, like screeching sounds. Yeah. Ew. Gross. No thanks.
Thank you. Next.
Yeah. Pass.
All right. So ready for something a little more fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have heard about a celebrity that had an encounter that they talked about, and so I wanted to include that, and then I found a couple more.
A celebrity? Oh my god. I've never heard of this.
I hadn't. You know Lucy Liu from Charlie's Angels,
Yes!
Kill Bill, as I was just
I
talking
love
about.
Lucy Liu. Oh my
Other
god.
things. So apparently while she was promoting Charlie's Angels in 1999, Lucy Liu told Us Weekly that she was interrupted by a spirit while trying to nap on her futon. She said, quote, "Some sort of spirit came down from God knows where and made love to me. It was sheer bliss. I felt everything and then he floated away."
Okay.
You asked for bliss. I was pretty shocked the first time I heard this on a podcast or something. I was like, wait, what? Because, like, celebrities never talk about that kind of stuff normally.
No.
Not unless you're like Dan Aykroyd and your like whole family's been in it for ages.
Yeah.
And then you're like, ghosts and stuff? Yeah, man. Not just Ghostbusters. All right. So also, do you know who Anna Nicole Smith is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she was like a Playboy bunny or whatever. She said that one entity or whatever would crawl up her leg and have sex with her every night.
Every night? What the?
For her, it was every night. I thought
That's
that was interesting.
creepy.
I mean, if it was anything like Lucy Liu's experience, maybe she's just happy she's getting it on the regular.
Are you sure it was she if she's a Playboy bunny, was she living at the Playboy mansion and this was Hugh Hefner just creeping up her leg every night? She's just like, it was a demon. It's a gross demon.
We can't ask her anymore. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
So we'll never know. Somebody posited that things like this could be spectrophilia, perhaps, which I guess is just sex with ghosts.
Okay.
You know, I think most people of a certain age anyway think of the
Ghost.
the movie Ghost, with Patrick Swayze. Yeah.
It's gonna teach some pottery.
Yeah, I've seen the scene, but I don't think I've actually seen the whole movie. Anyway.
Yeah, neither have I.
No. Pat doesn't like a whole lot of Swayze movies. His sister used to watch Dirty Dancing like on repeat, apparently.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
So sex with ghosts has been found in folklore in many cultures: Arabic, Greek, Hindu, and Celtic, which is cool. Oh, and speaking of Dan Aykroyd, he admitted to cuddling with a male ghost regularly, which
okay,
was cool.
That's my ghost bro.
Yes, and like I said, reason we should do episodes on him, like he's seen UFOs and stuff too, so it's pretty cool.
He's just in everything then.
Well, right? Like, he doesn't just play a Ghostbuster on TV.
Yeah. Well, one thing I didn't include in my notes and stuff is, the that I can mention then, since we're already talking about aliens a little bit, that
Always.
yeah, right? Always just slip the aliens in there. People do, like, doctors and stuff believe that a lot of cases of supposed abduction by aliens is actually people just experiencing sleep paralysis, like hallucinations.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, and they're like the floating feeling, and then they're like stuck and being held down, and they can like hallucinate intruders, so those could possibly end up being aliens, I guess, depending on the person. And then like
I can
people
see how it
reporting
would
like
fit.
stuff having like
Yeah.
sexual activity and stuff as aliens probing you. It's like a whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it does line up in some ways. So you're like, well,
Yeah.
I still don't think you could explain all the different
No.
alien encounters and stuff.
No,
but
like
that
it
is
wouldn't
interesting.
explain people waking up not at home and
Lost time and marks
Yeah.
on their body. And what about that Rendlesham Forest incident with the
Yeah.
UFO and the binary code that they all downloaded?
that was crazy.
That was crazy. What was that? That was in our... That wasn't even in a UFO episode. That was in Time
No.
Travel Part 2.
Yeah.
If you guys are looking for it. Anyway. Also, Kesha wrote her hit Supernatural. I guess she has a song called Supernatural. I don't actually know it.
I don't know that one. I know Katy Perry's E.T.
I thought that one was called Supernatural. Because that one's like Supernatural.
Yeah.
Extraterrestrial. Yeah. But I guess Kesha has a song called Supernatural as well. And apparently it's about a ghost one-night stand. So that's cool.
Okay.
And, and as a final note on the celebrities, Lucy Liu's spectral fling now apparently watches over her. She sees it watching over her. So that's kind of cool.
Okay. So
It's
it's like protective. Doesn't
Yeah,
sound like
that
a bad
seems like
thing.
a guardian angel.
Yeah.
All right, so time for some succubus. Which, come on, we have to admit, even the name sounds a little dirty.
Yeah. I'm like, of course they would name, like, because that's the female one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course they would put suck in the female one. Like, fuck. Of course.
I mean, well, wait. We'll get to the etymology of the word succubus in just this paragraph. So,
Okay.
modern online depictions, especially on the subreddit Succubus, which I joined for research purposes,
Only. No.
but it's like these sexy anime girls with tails and horns, and they're in a rainbow of colors, like, My Little Pony.
Okay.
It was like all pictures. I was like, this is not what I wanted.
This is not what I signed up for.
Reminds me of in my early life when our family friend Billy Joe went to look up something about the White House in the early days of the internet, and it was like, no, nothing, you can't look up anything, without it being porn. And that was the first time we like realized that.
Oh my god.
I don't even know what it was that it could have been about the White House. I'm sure it was about the White House. My siblings listen. Please tell me if I'm remembering this correctly.
The only time I remember is at work, one of our coworkers, I was telling her a story that I had just seen on like Google's news thing about a cougar that had escaped from the zoo, like in our area. So
Sorry.
she just so at work on her work computer, she just Googled cougars in blank area. And
Yes.
you can fill in the blank on what kind of results came up, but she immediately just closed all of the internet tabs she had open and just went, that wasn't what I was looking for.
I remember that.
It was
I
so
think they would
funny.
block you from those sites.
Yeah. But not from the search result page, just when you tried to click the links. And she's just like, not at all what I'm looking for. Close the internet as a whole. And then I think she just went, I'm gonna go take a break. Because she just Google cougars in my area. Like,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I can just imagine. Cougar Town.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Anyway.
sometimes there's a moose on the loose and you just want to look it up. But
Yeah.
with cougars, you gotta be careful.
Yeah.
So, barbed tails and horns are shown on all these succubuses.
Yeah.
And they're like depicted in a lot of instances in the internet as cute and like anime and like with these giant boobies, titties. Tig old biddies, as my friend Michaela would say.
They're just wearing tiny, tiny triangle beanie, like bikini tops.
Oh yeah, if that. So the original succubus was quite different looking. Or they were stooped or hunched and deformed and hideous. Yeah. And they also lurched or crawled along instead of walking upright.
Yeah. You mean they didn't wear high heels and like corsets and...
No, and we know how we feel about the crawling.
Yeah. Already discussed the crawling of your leg.
It's disgusting. Yeah. They had clawed hands and bird talons, and their faces were like those of gargoyles.
Yeah, that's the depiction I've seen. Is little gargoyle-y looking troll things.
Oh, and yes, they also seem to sound like your segment a bit, because they were also described as nasty, greedy hags out to get some and get pregnant.
Yeah.
They wanted to fall pregnant. Today's succubus is seductive, manipulative, and vengeful if slighted, but proud of their ability to please men also.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're still definitely a little bit evil and twisted, but... Definitely seems like we see them as more sexy. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Was it the TV show Lost Girl? Did you ever watch that? She was a succubus, wasn't she?
Lost Girl. It sounds familiar, but I can't... What was the main premise?
I only watched a couple episodes. I'm positive she was a succubus, but she had to, like, feed on people's energy to live. It wasn't about getting pregnant. I'm positive she was a succubus.
Oh. Ew.
Oh. Let me Google.
I just think of Lost now for some reason. I'm like, Lost!
Yeah.
Had girls?
Lost
No.
Girl.
I don't know, but I should. Probably.
This says Lost Girls. It's a movie from 2020. No, not Lost Girl. Freaking Google. Lost Girl. It was on for 6 years. Lost Girl, a Canadian supernatural TV show.
Canadian. I was gonna say Canadian.
Yeah, it follows the life of a bisexual succubus named Beau, played by Anna Silk, as she learns to control her supernatural abilities, help those in need, and discover the truth about her origins.
Aw, how sweet.
It was on for
She's
6 years on the
a
Sci-Fi
do-gooder.
Network. Yeah.
No, I don't. Who's in it? Anyway, I don't know.
I don't think anybody popular. It ended in
Okay.
2016. Yeah. I watched a couple
No, it sounds
episodes
interesting.
of it.
Yeah. I don't know. I watch things when like Supernatural. Pat found it in like Walmart and was like, I haven't heard about this yet, but let's watch it, and like buys a DVD of it before it gets big. And
Oh wow.
Well, especially it's hard if you're in a relationship, you want to get into a new show, but if your spouse doesn't want to get into it, then you have to watch it on your own time.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, never saw that. So, oh, here we go. The word succubus is derived from 2 Latin words that mean to lie down.
Oh, did both the words mean to lie down?
Yeah, well, maybe one means lie and one means down, but not in the same way that we say it in English. I'm not too sure. It's from medieval English, is the only other note I have on that.
Oh, okay.
But at least it doesn't mean to suck dick. But it does mean to lie down, so that's also pretty, suggestive. These succubus or succubi were widely known as early as the 15th century. they left the limelight for a bit and returned based on one of their more pleasant incarnations. So they did kind of fall out of favor or folklore and then kind of get back into popularity but more as this kind of sexy incarnation that we see.
Oh, okay.
That was my understanding of the history anyway. And the incubus, as you said, is the male sex demon, the partner in crime. And you already mentioned how they will visit a male, get some of their semen, bring it to the incubus, and then deposit it into the unsuspecting female.
Yeah.
It's quite a interesting process, and I called it a type of surrogacy, not to offend anyone, but that's how I thought of it.
I guess so, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like a gestational surrogacy. It's someone else's anyway. Stuff going in there. So, some believe that it switches between incubi and succubi, and you mentioned that. Oh, but the child that is born of this union, if you will, is called a cambion. I read.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why.
That's kind of cool. What powers do they have?
I have no idea. Whatever site I was on did not have any more on that.
Aw.
And I was like, I want to like deep dive into all of this, but I have to kind of stay on track. But they did tie in the story of Lilith, which you probably know a little bit about her.
Yeah, just from Supernatural. I know she's a cute little girl who's 8 and has black eyes and is a psychopath.
Well, come on now. We both read Shadowhunters. She's in that too.
I
No?
only slightly remember.
Well, you know she's demon-y anyway.
Yeah.
So, we get all our, knowledge from pop culture, as you can see.
Yeah.
No. She's known as the mother of all succubi and mother of all demons. Well, that's kind of my opinion,
Yeah.
but in like the Judeo-Christian mythology, a lot of times, I'll get into it, but she's depicted as like mother of all of the demons.
Yeah.
She also appears in Sumerian, Egyptian, Greek, Roman, Judaic, and Christian mythology. Sorry, that kind of repeated itself a bit. So Lilith, or Lilitu, first showed up in Sumerian culture as a goddess of witchcraft and fertility.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
A
that.
goddess of witchcraft and wizardry. No. Anyway.
We'll talk enough about Harry Potter in that one Patreon we're gonna do.
Ooh. Yes.
Philosopher's Stone.
Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll just count how many Harry Potter references we managed to sneak in there.
Well, it's also... Okay. Not gonna tangent, but it is good and like an allegorical kind of story where you're like, oh, she could be talking about Christ or whatever. Because like, yeah, Jordan Peterson will reference that in his little lectures where he'll be like, I could use this Bible story, but then I can also use Harry Potter to illustrate what I mean.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I love it. A good writer really does pull from a lot of different sources.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anywho's. Okay, so Lilith, that demony biatch. Babylonians and Assyrians, I think, began to associate her with dark demons. The Greeks told a different origin story of Lamia, which was their name for her, I guess.
Okay.
She was a beautiful woman cursed by Hera after she caught Zeus's eye. Her fate was to roam the world as a monster, seducing men and eating babies.
Ew. I've never heard the
because she's
eating baby thing before.
Oh, yeah, and that's just this Greek lady that, like, Zeus was like, oh, I saw you, I got a
he's
boner.
Zeus.
And then
Got a boner for
Hera
everybody.
cursed the shit out of her.
Maybe they should have cursed fucking Zeus. Stop cursing
Maybe.
the women for catching his eye and curse him.
Why is it always the woman's fault?
1,000 women and wives and children. Like, jeez.
So many.
Curse him. Curse the problem, not the woman.
Takes two to tango.
Yep.
Okay, so in Judeo-Christian mythology, Lilith was Adam's first wife, created at the same time as him, and not from him, like not from his rib. So she would not bow to Adam as her leader or, ruler or whatever, and went off on her own, eventually finding the Red Sea and its horde of demons. So she mated with them instead.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's like Old Testament shit, and then like, obviously that's when God was like, you can have Eve, but too late. Lilith had already made all these demons. She birthed more
angry.
She is a woman scorned. The OG woman scorned. She birthed more than 100 demons per day, and some of these sexy offspring became the succubi.
Sexy offspring.
She's got to be sexy. I mean, come on.
But they're supposed to be gargoyle-y looking, hunched over things with claws.
I know, right?
Originally.
Well, she's glowed up over the years. She's had she's reinvented herself. So Lilith around the world has different names. In India, she's called Yakshini. In Arabia, Garinha. The Native Americans referred to her as just the deer woman. Like deer, D-E-E-R.
Yeah.
And China, she was called the Mogwai. In Greece, the Lamia, which we mentioned.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was most of her main names. So that was cool. I just wanted to touch a little bit on Lilith when we were talking about demons and sleep
if she's
demons.
their mommy, we gotta talk about her.
Exactly. Okay, so then I had a second Reddit story also that I wanted to share with you.
Okay.
So yeah, the Reddit users didn't say they wanted to be anonymous, so it was posted by Go Study 93. And the heading was, "Not sure if I lost my virginity to a demon or if I had sleep paralysis."
Okay, that's a title.
Isn't it? It really caught my eye. Clickbait!
Yes. Oh my god.
I love a good personal story on Reddit. I wish I had more interesting ones. Okay, so we'll quote. "All right, this story happened to me sometime in 2014. I never told anybody about it. I'm almost 30 now, and thinking about it still keeps me awake at night sometimes. Keep in mind, I never did drugs, and I do not drink alcohol. Each summer, my family and I would visit my granddad's house where he, my uncle, and 2 aunts live. Now, my uncle is a self-proclaimed treasure hunter. In North Africa, these hunter people would supposedly employ through creepy rituals to guide you to hidden old valuables buried in some secret places."
Okay, I love a good treasure hunter story.
Right? And like ancient rituals and stuff. That sounds cool.
Is your uncle or dad Indiana Jones?
I was gonna say African Jones.
African.
But Indiana is just his name because
Yeah.
he has a really weird name.
Yeah.
Anyway. I digress. So, secret places. So my uncle is pretty knowledgeable about demons and jinns and those things. Jinns are like the...
Genie, right?
Right. Thank you. I was going to
with
say,
a
yeah, they're like
twist.
similar to a genie where they have that kind of ability or whatever. But I think they can be malevolent.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is not about jinns.
Yeah. They have a twist to everything that always backfires for you, I think.
That would make sense, because it's like that episode of Supernatural, be careful what you wish for type of thing. And then whenever they would make a a wish, it would, like, come back to haunt him. Like, he, like, wished for, like, a big sub hoagie sandwich, and then, like, it gave him, like, the runs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wishes turn bad. Okay, so his uncle is knowledgeable about demons and jinns and things. So one night, after having a big North African dinner with the family, I hung around with my uncle in his room. I always liked to listen to his creepy stories. He decided to show me his stack of old Islamic witchcraft books and manuscripts. Among them, there was one called The Great Secret to Attract the Beloved, in brackets, which was a rough translation from Arabic.
Oh, okay.
The book was a bit hard. Yeah, so interesting. Intriguing. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. The book was a bit hard to read as it was old and handwritten. I browsed randomly and there was some sort of talisman with instructions. You had to draw some sort of table, and within the columns, you draw some letters. You then take the paper, put it under your pillow. This will supposedly bring you a lover.
All right,
Seems
then.
silly, fun to try.
Yeah.
I mean, as like a teen, didn't anybody be like, oh, I want to try this love spell or whatever?
Yeah.
I slept. I woke up sometime in the early morning. I still remember it as it was a little bit bright and the pigeons would get really loud at that time. But their sound was not what woke me up. It was actually the weight of a woman on my waist. I got woken up by a lady riding me cowgirl style. Oh yeah.
And how old? So this person said they're almost 30 now? And this was...
Now,
So
yes.
they're like 24 or 23, 24, something like that. Okay.
When this happened?
Yeah. Because you said at the beginning that they said that this happened in 2014.
Right. I can't do math, though. Okay, yeah, you're probably right.
So, yeah, probably be...
No,
or
you're
probably like 23, 22, maybe. Okay. So...
Because it's 2021 now, to be clear. Yeah.
So it's not like this person's like 14-year-old boy or whatever. Kind of thing.
No,
like, this is
but
a
I still think they said it was their first sexual experience.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Like maybe they were waiting for marriage. I don't know.
Oh, damn. No shit.
Well, just listen.
Yeah,
So
carry on.
I know it's so
My mind's
good,
going
though.
all over the place. But carry on.
No, it's like, this is why we want, like,
Listener stories, please.
listener stories. I know. It's hard because I get it. Not everybody has a story. You and I don't have a story. I mean,
No.
It's not like we have millions of listeners. So if only, like, 2 people have stories, they might not want to write in, right? But, like, oh, some of these are so good. And then, like, I think it'll probably be one of our first listener stories because I told them I want to use this for my podcast and they were like, I will listen to it. Tell me when it's airing.
Nice.
So they're going to be a listener, at least for this episode. But anyway. Okay, so as I said, he got woken up by a lady riding him cowgirl style.
Every
So he
dude's
said-
dream. Carrying on.
I feel like, yeah, it's like a wet dream.
Yeah.
Come true? Oh my god, I don't know. So, he says, I was hard and I was inside her. But there was no pleasure. All I felt was terror. The lady had no face.
Oh, okay. I retract that. Not every dude's dream.
It is a little dark. It was dark, darker than the room. Abyss kind of dark. She had glowing neon red hair that burnt me whenever she'd bounce.
Ugh.
Ow!
So her hair is like flames. Jesus.
I guess so.
That sounds awful.
I know. I mean, I love a good redhead. You know, I always dye my hair red, but like,
Yeah.
I don't want it to burn anybody.
Yeah, we've both been redheads for a large portion of our lives, so.
That's true. Redheads have more fun. Fuck blondes. No. Sorry, Mom. Okay. So he said, like every good Muslim guy, I looked away and started reciting verses of the Quran.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, it's
I
a demon with no
know.
face and it's burning you.
And, like, so sweet. He's just gonna go to his faith, right? Like, I'm gonna rely
Yeah.
on my faith to get me through this. And, I mean, there's even been stories I heard where people weren't, maybe they were raised, like, in a religion, but they weren't that faithful anymore, and they're like, I saw a demon and I fucking recited some prayers.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah, I would be the same. I looked back at her and she was gone. My pants were down and I was lost in thought. Same. No. Next day, my uncle saw me acting weird and distant and asked why. I hesitated and told him about it. Not sure if he was joking, but the dude told me it's just his ginger familiar. She likes to play with young guys. What? Who?
Okay.
Why, Uncle?
Warn a guy
Why?
next time?
Yeah.
Jesus. We have company. My fiery redhead, we have company. Don't harass them in their sleep. Without
Careful with
consent.
those books there, buddy. It's like, instead of finding pornos under the mattress, he's like, careful with those mystical books there.
Yeah. Oh god.
The pages are sticky for a reason. He says, kid you not, I have not spent a night there since then.
Yeah, I don't think I would either.
Yeah, not so much. Fast forward 3 days later. Back in our home, I was asleep and I have this dream. I'm walking in a dark tunnel. I get shivers and I reach to my pocket and find my phone. Just as I turned on my flashlight, it revealed a naked black man kneeling. I approached him and touched his shoulder. He stood up. He kept standing up. It was a very tall, naked black man. He smiled at me with big white teeth.
Okay.
I woke up from my dream unable to move. I guess it was sleep paralysis. Anyways, unable to move, I start to look around with my eyes. A figure stands up from the edge. Sorry.
Oh, no! And does he just keep standing up and up and up at the foot of the bed?
I guess that was the end of the sentence. Hang on. Yeah. Okay, stands up from the edge. It was him. He stood there for a moment and looked at me. I tried to scream, but nothing came out of my throat. Then he vanished in a cloud of very dark smoke, darker than the dark of the room. He turned to smoke, then appeared to the right side of my bed, and he stood there again, tall and naked. His face slowly got closer to mine. Just as I made eye contact with him, he smiled at me and vanished in smoke. I could then move. I stood up and went to drink some water, unable to believe what happened.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm like shivers right now. It's so creepy. And I just looked behind me to make sure there was nothing there. And it's 4:30 in the afternoon.
Right?
I'm just like,
But
oh.
same, when you were telling some story, and then I said, oh, that's gross. Because, the hair grabbing on the bed.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
looked to the bed behind me in the guest room / studio here, and I was like, ugh, what's on the bed? Ugh. So next day, I get woken up by my 8 a.m. alarm. With my eyes half closed, I try to reach for the phone to shut it down, but I get blocked by something. I thought it was my brother. When I looked, my hand was blocked by a dwarf head. A dwarf who had the face of the brother of one of my friends. Okay. That does sound like a dream, though, right? You just get the randomest people in your dreams. Yeah. He then laughed at me and ran away towards the door with his short legs. It was funny. Oh my god. It does sound kind of funny. Since then, I started praying and have not seen any of them again. I like to think those were just sleep paralysis episodes.
I've one interesting question. You know how they keep, like, scientists and stuff have numerous times said that in your dreams you can't dream of somebody you've never at least physically seen in the real world?
Yes, I feel like I've heard that, yeah.
Yeah, then how do all these sleep demon-y things happen of people, like, having these sleep paralysis, like, hallucination-y things if it's caused by their REM cycle, but your REM cycle, you're not supposed to be able to see people you've never seen before.
Didn't he say he was also faceless, like your guy described?
Yeah. But it's like, but who's, like, where are these people seeing faceless people on the street? With, like, black holes as faces, you know?
I guess. I assume in most dreams they're like representations of fears we have and stuff.
They must be. Because I'm sitting here going, oh my god. What does
Because,
it
yeah,
mean?
you ever have that dream where... Well, yeah, but, like, you ever have a dream where you, like, you more get the feeling than actually what happened? Where you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I know I was scared, but I can't picture the guy's face. Or, like, I know it was hot and horny, but I can't picture the guy's face.
Yeah.
Or whatever. You get, like, the emotion of it, almost.
You're
and
like,
what
being,
the heck?
like, I have one reoccurring where I get chased by something, but it's like something so small, like the size of like a fly. Like you can't see it. It's like a little
What?
bug. Yeah, but I'm getting chased by it and it's so scary, but it's like a bug-sized thing. So like
That seems so symbolic of something. It's like you're afraid of minuscule things that maybe it's like telling you don't need to be. Like, what the hell does that mean?
probably
Oh my
probably
god.
means exactly that.
Because
I get
like,
anxiety about the stupidest little stuff that means nothing at the end of the day. So it's probably
well, we're
literally like that.
millennials. Like,
Yeah.
we're expected. We have like phone anxiety. We don't like to like talk to anybody. But like, no, I'll have nightmares. My most recurring nightmare is literally like I'm basically like late for work. And I cannot get out of the house. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't always drive. I'm like calling a cab, it's not coming. Like something's happening.
Yeah.
It's like that whole you're trying to run from someone. Because I've had that too, when you're trying to like run from the bad guy and like you feel like you cannot move your legs. And
Yeah,
you're
that's
like,
what this
well, that's
one
just
is.
because I'm
But
sleeping,
it's like
because I
a
can't
bug.
move.
It's like a bug that I can't run
Oh
from.
my god.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, it probably is our intense fear of failure with our podcast. No.
I haven't had any of my reoccurring dreams since we started the podcast. I only have them like once a year or so, so.
I haven't either. Maybe this is good for us. And then next week after sleep paralysis, you said we're doing true crime UK because I already forgot.
Yes. Question mark. Yes. We're doing
Yes,
the UK.
I'm excited for that.
United Kingdom.
United Kingdom. We've got some roots there too, I would say. I'm like English, Irish, French, German, Scottish. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
I think.
find some
Well, my mom's
plights of my people.
Scottish, because her family comes from like a small island off of Scotland, and then
Really?
yeah,
Cute.
and then yeah, I think my dad's
Your
side
dad
is,
must
like,
be the
Norway.
Scandinavian
Yeah.
one then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Norway, Scandinavian
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah, my segment so far, I think, is gonna be pretty long. I don't know.
Oh my god. We
Not
have
as long
barely
as
touched
Heist.
anything in England, Scotland, or
Yeah.
Ireland, or Wales. Yeah. Ugh. It's...
And I picked
Oh
a
my god. We could do
doozy.
so much haunted history there. I'm so
Yes.
excited
It's
for
just
it.
like, we could, yeah, haunted forever, because it's been around forever.
Oh, totally. And we've had requests to do things like haunted battlefields. So, like, that could be fun.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of those in Britain and anywhere else.
I can already think of one from Outlander.
But, yeah,
So many Scottish ghosts. Okay, so
Next
join us
week.
next time.
for some UK true crime.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Because also, I don't know, maybe there will be a little paranormal in it since, you know, the true crime goes back so long there in history. There could be even some ghosts we could bring to it just to make it a little more fun.
Yeah. I'm like, my segment's gonna be long enough all by itself.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh.
I
I
meant-
just know people love the paranormal stuff, but
Yeah.
like...
I'm at 8.5
Yeah.
pages, and as I said, I haven't even listened to that documentary yet to see if that
Oh
has
my God.
any other little bits for me.
We do have fun with the murder.
Yes, with the murder.
Murder. Well, until next time, like us on Spotify, follow us and subscribe on the YouTube,
Rate
social
us,
media.
review us, please. You can.
We would love a review. Reviews
Yeah.
are very helpful, I've learned. But also just annoying because if you're on like Spotify and other things, they don't like let you do it. So
Yeah.
anyone who can review, if you can, we would really appreciate it. And I don't know, keep it super cryptic, baby.
Yeah. Super, super cryptic.
Stay cool, cats.
Yeah. And don't invite any succubi or incubi into your beds.
No, I mean, I would be. There is some definite risks.
Yeah.
Either they're going to drain your soul forever, you might get pregnant, or it just might be a good lay. I mean, maybe ask for consent first. All right,
Yeah.
kids?
When I was doing my research, I didn't bring it up. I omitted it, but it did say, according to like many religions, that incubi and succubi are blamed for demonic possession. That's what starts it. So yeah, and then the only
So
cure
comes
and
into
stuff,
them while they're sleeping.
yeah, and it starts as that, as like an incubi or like succubi encounter, and then they slowly, if they like consent to it or whatever, and then depending how they react to
Yeah.
that, like the demon will keep coming to them or whatever, and then the only way to expel them is through like a proper exorcism and stuff like that. Quite crazy.
Oof. Hopefully, if it's becoming a problem in your life, you're getting the help you need with it.
Yes.
Cause yeah. Also, I read on that forum with that story there. There were where the user, the listener story was like, you know, I don't know if they took my virginity or not because it was a sleep demon, and other people were like, you know what, your virginity is, you should just count as it's like the first time you have, you know, make love, have sex with someone you're in love with and that you choose to,
Yeah.
not necessarily someone in your dreams. And I was like, I like that. Like,
Yeah.
take control back, you know, that's
Yeah,
a
you
cool
can
way to think of it.
choose when that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully nobody's dealing with any super serious sleep paralysis problems right now.
Or
I
sleep
mean-
deprivation because of it.
Ugh. Well, who isn't dealing with that? But hit us up. Either way, let us know. We're here
Yeah.
for you guys.
you
We would
have
love
any-
to chat.
Stories or anything you want to share with us, you can message us, email, or social media.
Hey, if we get 3 stories, that's like 10% of our listenership. So there you go.
Yeah.
No.
And 8% of you, 8% of 32. How much is that? How many stories
I
do we
don't
need?
know. Maybe we just need someone to make up a story.
We're not gonna fact check, just
That's true. That's true. I'm very gullible.
if you want 15 minutes of fame on our small podcast, we'll give it to you, sure.
15 minutes now. It could be very popular later. You never know.
Yeah.
We might get some people. We might get the Warrens on here. We're gonna resurrect them. Oh,
my gosh.
no, that's not gonna happen.
No. I refuse to be a part of any sort of resurrection. It never ends well.
No, I don't want to channel any spirits. I heard from some that do even do tarot cards and channel when they're doing episodes, and they're like, the Black Dahlia was needy as shit. And I'm like, I do not need any of that kind of stuff messing up my aura.
No, I don't need visions of women cut in half with, what do they call it? The Glasgow smile or whatever.
Right,
Yeah,
but
I don't need visions of
apparently
that.
she's okay with the notoriety. She's even a little bit, like, infatuated with it, like the first
Well, of course, she was trying to be a famous
YouTube
actress.
star.
I mean,
I'll
she was
just die,
gunning
and
for
then my
notoriety.
YouTube account will get a
Yeah.
million views.
Yeah.
I do not intend to commit suicide. I am very happy if I do end up dead after this episode. Please go
investigate.
see the CIA.
Please investigate. Yes.
I'm just kidding.
Anyway, catch us next
And
week. This outro is
gone.
like 82 minutes long now.
Catch us on Castles and Cryptids.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been Castles and Cryptids. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Anchor, Breaker, Pocket Cast, and our YouTube channel. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Reddit. On our website, you can listen to all of our episodes as well as view pictures for each of our segments. Check out our Patreon page to view all of our tiers and become a Patreon supporter today to unlock monthly bonus episodes and behind-the-scenes content. We are working on an Ask Us Anything. You can submit questions by social media or by email at castlesandcryptids@gmail.com. Do you have a spooky ghost story, a creepy cryptid sighting, or a thrilling true crime tale you would like to share and have us include in a future episode? Send us your listener story by social media or by email. Please include the name that you would like mentioned. Our music is by Kobe Fair. Our logo and artwork is by Antonio Garcia. Thanks for listening.